Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is FMA Discussion, episode 189. If you are jumping in, tell us where you're watching from and smash that like button. Tonight is going to be more of a theme-oriented episode. However, we have two gentlemen that have not been on here before, so we will be getting some initial background before we jump into the theme. And the theme tonight is FMA schools. I just want to clarify, though, that when I say FMA schools, these gentlemen teach full-time. They do not sublet. They do not teach other components, or they're not supplementing their FMA curriculum with a traditional martial art, so to speak. So and the status on full time. So I just want to make sure that's clarified to everybody. I'm sure there's others out there that have schools, but that don't fit the criteria that I just mentioned. So I just want to make sure that's clear. In addition, there could be others out there that have full-time schools. So I don't want to, that these three have been chosen. There's nobody else that does that. I'm saying I'm not aware of it, but there could be. So I want to clarify that, just so if others do say, hey, these guys do this and all that, or this gentleman has one and what have you. So just to clarify all that. Those of you who are watching, we're going to take a moment of silence for the unfortunate passing of GM Kennedy. So we'll just take a quick put our heads down and just a moment of reflection. All right. So with that said, we're going to jump into things. Again, if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from and smash that like button. If you do have questions when we get on through this, please list them in the comment section, and we're going to begin. All right, so I want to welcome three guests tonight. One who's been on here before, Datu Tim Hartman.
Thank you.
Episode number, but I can list that post-interview. And then we also have Miguel, Rubi, and we have Neil Buzick. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for inviting.
Yeah. I'm hopefully we didn't pull you guys from any Sunday activities, whatever, or what have you. I don't know about you guys, but the weather out here is just downpour rain. So, but you guys are out in California, so I'm sure you have significantly much better weather than we do out here.
Well, there's only one from California. That's Mike. Remember,
Neil's
Florida.
Florida. Well, I'm sure you got better weather in Florida than we do.
Yeah.
It looks it. All right. So again, I want to get some background. So in no particular order, Maestro Mike, just for the folks who might not know what you do before we jump into the theme, what can you tell the folks about your FMA background?
Well, I'm a practitioner of 12 pares. I hold a rank under Grandmaster Janicio Cañete, and I also hold rank under Grandmaster Cockley Cañete. I've been training just a little over 20 years now. I'm also a practitioner of Yaoyan martial arts from the Philippines, and I've been training in that since 2006.
Okay. Wow. And just for the folks, as far as the Yaoyan, maybe just give it like some, most of us know, but just an event that some don't. I just tell people when they ask me, but I'm sure you can give a much better perspective and definition of it, that it's kind of the Thai version of the...
It's Yaoyan is the way we teach it here in our gym. I cannot speak for other gyms, but the way we teach it here in our gyms, it is an empty hand based FMA martial arts. So if somebody signs up here at our gym, they're training empty hands in our Yaoyan class 99.9% of the time. It's punching, kicking, elbows, knees. We teach the footwork to floating in and out of range, baiting your opponent to strike and then immediately countering. That's the thing we try to propagate, that type of movement. Yes, to the layman or to somebody who's not familiar with Thai boxing, Yaoyan might look very similar. However, with that being said, we do have Muay Thai guys that come here for sparring and whatnot. When they see it, they said, "Oh, that's totally different from Muay Thai." Okay. So I'll just leave that there, and then anyone else, if you don't agree with me, I'm sorry, your mileage may vary.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to chime in because I've had the honor of I have a very diverse exposure of martial arts because my friend, as we all know, if you're the FMA guy, a lot of times you're the minority in the town. So
No way.
no, I know. Yeah. So I've seen a lot of Muay Thai, and the thing, there's definitely Yao Yan has a unique fingerprint, and even they're with different hand strikes and kicks. But if you want to really, if you're not that much of a connoisseur, the biggest difference you're going to see is they use the triangular footwork in their fighting effectively. There's much greater emphasis of footwork, I feel, in Yao Yan than there is in Muay Thai. Now, and I'm not saying that there isn't in Muay Thai, but my exposure of Muay Thai and the thing that I looked at Yao Yan that was different than the others was their footwork and their mobility.
Yeah, I definitely.
In addition to other things, yeah.
I definitely, when I had Maestro Boy Garcia on, and I definitely got that. Nothing against Muay Thai, but he has that very, it's very, whereas what Boy Garcia was showing was definitely more emphasis on mobility. I definitely, got that. And what about the Maestro Mike? What about the scorpion kick? Do you guys do that?
Yeah, yeah, we practice that. It's
when he showed that,
very difficult to do it without practice. So yeah, we practice that, and we, occasionally we land them in sparring. It's a beautiful and dangerous kick.
No, when Boy Garcia was demonstrating with his partner, I'm like, good heavens, wow. Yeah. All right. So, Maestro Neil, what say you? What's as far as your FMA? What do you do? Your background? What do you teach?
Well, thank you, sir. That's a good question. I was a contractor in the Middle East after being a counterintelligence agent in Iraq for a year. Then I went to Baghdad for 4 years as a contractor, and a series of events just led me to Cebu, Philippines, where I started training at Doce Pares, which was the under Grandmaster Juni Cañete. So today's a hard day, to be quite frank. I lived next door to Doce Pares, like literally next door to Doce Pares for 2 years, and an additional year in the same neighborhood, I guess you can call it. And I trained there at the Academy of Eskrima, where I received my advanced certificate under Grandmaster Juni. At the same time, I trained with Grandmaster Alfredo and June Karin, which is kind of like a sister organization of Doce Pares, with a few hundred more hours with Grandmaster Val. And then for a few months, I went up to Manila and I trained with Grandmaster Henry Espera of Rapido Cali. So I got so much exposure. Miguel was one of my, I don't know if you're ever a tester of mine, sir. I hope not, because you probably remember what I looked like when I tested.
You did great. I remember.
It's much
you were doing great. Quit being so humble, buddy.
Yeah. But I got to meet, as Miguel knows, and the Doce Pares was such a conducive element to meeting Grandmaster Nick Elazar, meeting Grandmaster Morenga, Grandmaster Uy, and so many other people got to go out of that organization that whenever I was training at Doce Pares, there was such an ample opportunity to meet other foreigners, JKD practitioners, people in BJJ, Wing Chun, where I finally met my primary instructor now, Guru Robbie Dehant, who has studied under, multiple people, including Doce Pares. So it was a wonderful 3 years of studying there full time. And now I own a school in Jupiter, Florida, where Joe Namath lives, where Michael Jordan's home is about 1.5 miles away from me, from my school. Joe Namath, his granddaughter had come to my school for about 9 months, and he was in the school as well, watching classes with her. And so for the last 7 years, then I've been teaching kids in Jupiter, Florida, with the core curriculum of being Filipino martial arts. And I've made every single possible mistake as a martial arts school owner, as far as curriculum and as far as business.
Wow. Honestly, we're going to tap into kids aspect, because I started at kids years ago, and I was told I was crazy to do it. And So we're going to tap into when we get into the theme. We're going to definitely tap into that. Datu, what say you as far as maybe for folks that didn't catch your first episode?
So, Filipino martial arts is my thing. I started my first martial art is modern arnis. So from there, I did other systems. I got into Balintwak, Sikran, Kuntao. A lot of this is to track the lineage. Professor Prasis always told me that modern arnis, there's many different things in modern arnis. So I went to look at the roots, which took me in a lot of different places. And I was very fortunate living here in the States. A lot of the top people are here, and of the systems that are related, I didn't have to go far. I have been to the Philippines a bunch of times. For me, it's more cultural. But everything I do really comes from a modern arnis base. I do offer Balintwak separately, which is one of the arts that contribute to the forming of modern arnis. Currently, everything else is more right now. Okay, this is in modern. We took this from Sikran, so I'm going to show you a little more Sikran. I am ranked in these other systems. I do offer paths for post-black development if my students want to get ranked in the specific arts. I train them and take them in front of this into the right people to test, because I don't want to test these arts, because then it'll be a rubber. I don't want it to be perceived as a rubber stamp. So if Yao Yan was part of what I did, which it isn't, but if it was part of modern arnis, I would bring them to Miguel's people, or Miguel, I would bring the Buffalo to do a grading here.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, great. And like I said, folks that are watching, I'm going to, I can list that episode when he was on there. And again, if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from and smash that like button. If you have questions, please list them as we go on. All right, we're going to jump into the theme. And folks that are just jumping in, the theme of this episode is FMA schools from the perspective of full-time. In other words, these gentlemen don't do it part-time. They don't sublet. They don't teach other traditional arts or anything like that. It is solely FMA curriculum if you're just jumping in. All right, so let's we're going to do kind of, round robin, so to speak, on each question, just so everybody gets kind of a, a fresh crack at it. Let's start, Neil, let's start with you. What led you to decide to, open up a school just that was FMA curriculum solely? And before you did that, did you sublet previous to that?
That's a good question, sir. So out of an odd series of events when I was a contractor in the Philippines, that led me to, to look at, Filipino martial arts as a style that I wanted to do. I had a friend of mine, when we got back from Iraq, he opened a Taekwondo studio. And the longer I stayed as a contractor in Iraq, and as he was doing his Taekwondo studio, his school was growing. And he kept saying, man, you need to do this. You need to learn an art. And I'm like, well, what art am I going to do? I'm almost 40 years old, and, I can't do the high kicking of Taekwondo. And the more I looked at it, I came across the History Channel, the Human Weapon, where they were in the Philippines. And I looked at a guy and I said, hey, there's a Secret Service guy from South Africa who was showing us some knife stuff in Iraq. And I said, is this a Eskrima that you're showing us? Is this FMA? And he said, yeah. As soon as he said that, I knew that I was going to go over there. So I just kept in contact with my friend about, hey, what do I need to do to open a school? Because he said, it doesn't matter the style that you learn. It has no bearing in the style. If you're going to open a commercial school, it just doesn't matter. He said, learn an FMA style. And I found out quickly after I went over there that it was, as a 40-year-old who was short and a little overweight, that it was okay on my body. And I decided from there that, hey, when I get back, I'm going to open a kid's school. And since I've been open for the last 7 years, like I said a little bit earlier, I've made every single mistake as far as teaching and curriculum and business-wise, that I've spent over $50,000 in the last 7 years just figuring out how to teach, how to deliver curriculum to kids, because it's a different animal. Just because you have a black belt does not mean that you can teach to kids. It doesn't mean you can teach, but
yeah.
And it's a totally another animal, and I've had to become an expert on that.
Yeah, I know 100% on the kids aspect and all that. So what year did you officially open up?
Good question. I was in Cebu from mid 2011 to mid 2014, and so by November 1st, 2014, I opened up a studio, and my friend told me I'm going to need about $20,000, which he was pretty much on point on. And it'd be a little bit more money than that today. And I rent a studio, and my studio cost me around $4,000 a month on rent.
Gotcha. All right. Let's swing around to Dr. Tim. I guess what made you do it, the year you did it, and did you just go ahead and get a fine place, or did you sublet? Or
so I started actually. I was teaching from the get-go. So I've been teaching since '86. I hopped in the club, went to a training camp with Remy within 6 months, got into that. My teacher and I had a separation after a year or so, and then Remy reached out to me directly. I started in my backyard, then I opened up in my church. So that was doing well. I got into a gym. It closed in the middle of the night. Fortunately, I knew where the back door was, so I got all my stuff out. Then I got in. And actually, when I left my initial instructor, a local guy, Bill Adams, gave me the keys to his dojo and said, finish your training for your black belt, because I wasn't a black belt at the time. Finish your training and then do whatever the hell you want after that, but get your damn black belt. I'm like, okay. So he gave me the keys, didn't charge me a dime, and I owe a lot to him for that, Started doing stuff there, but I had to work around his schedule. So then I got into the church, and, when I was in my church, I had a good time there, but which room I had was all dependent on, I had 2 classrooms on the second floor as a Christian education building. So it was separate from the church. So it was a little schoolhouse, but there was an auditorium in the basement. That's what everyone wanted. So I was lucky to get it every 3rd week or so. Still, we were there. Then I got into a gym, and then then before it closed, I dealt with issues like I was in the aerobics room, and sometimes other programs superseded me, so I had to work out on the main floor. Then I got an office space after that closed. Then I got a larger office space. And then I got into Plazamat now, and then I moved down to the end where in the building now. I've been in this plaza for 20 years, and the big reason, first of all, I didn't do this to get into business. This is not what I wanted. I wanted my own place to work out how I wanted to, the way I wanted to. I wanted to develop good martial artists, and if I could make a buck, that was great. But I had a day job. I worked for Advanced Auto Parts. So I was shift supervisor there. I trained the managers. I would have been okay with that if that would have been the day thing. I could have gone management, higher management that I was. I still could have got a couple nights off to teach. The big thing was that I wanted control of my life. And then, once I started doing that, I realized if I wanted even more control, I needed to run everything. And I had the opportunity to go full time, in 2000. So it was 2000-ish. I was getting ready to go. 2001 is when I made the decision. Remy died on the 28th, which this Saturday is the 20th anniversary. Got in a car accident on the 5th of September. And then September 11th happened. And things, just the way things line up and all this other stuff happened, I was full-time by then, and there was no going back. But I started my business. I don't count it the years prior to my black belt, but 88 is when I got my black belt in modern. So I consider I go by what my DBA was back then in 88. So I've had Horizon Martial Arts going since 88. I wasn't professional for years because I wasn't looking at it. So 2000 is when I really, well, actually probably 96 when I went part-time, where I had a day job, but the school paid for itself.
Gotcha.
So brick and mortar, had my own keys, answered to nobody. And then 2000 and when I went all in.
You want to transition to full-time. Okay.
Yeah.
And certainly not last but least, Maestro Miguel, what made you decide to go full-time, and were there pre-steps? Did you sublet or work at somewhere else, or?
Yes, we did. And Dean, if I may, before I get into that, I just want to say I have a lot of help here at my gym.
Okay.
So my family helps out. My nephew, my son, Master Brandoy, my partner. He was the chief instructor at the Doce Pares World Headquarters. I sponsored him to come here in 2006, and we've been teaching ever since then. I also have J.B. Labuyo, who is a Yao Yan disciple of Grandmaster Knapp, in the same regard that Master Boy is a disciple of Grandmaster Knapp, and he runs the Yao Yan classes. Master Brandoy is the chief instructor here in both arts because he's certified to teach both arts. So he's the head instructor here, but we all take turns teaching here. So now that with that being said, in 2006 is when we started leasing time out of what we call the Filipino Veterans Hall here in Sacramento, the Magellan Hall. And what it is, it's an American Legion post. And we did pretty good. But in 2014, late 2013, 2014? 2014, early 2014 is when we bit the bullet and we opened up, we leased this gym, this area that we're at now, the space we're at.
Okay.
And it's different. It's different from, our rent at the Magellan Hall was less than $400. Life was easy. And then we moved here. We didn't change our program. And now the rent is $3,500 a month. So it's a big difference. We still train the same way. We train the same way we're training at the Legion Hall. We train here. Going into 2022, I do want to learn kind of like how Master Neil's doing. I want to learn the business side of it because that's the one thing I think we do need to learn. So
yeah, like taking on that Taekwondo business model.
Something, yeah. Just, I got to learn more about it.
Usually referenced we got folks in here. Vaughn Batista, hey, Kavon. We got Gene Bray. We got and my fellow moderator and FMA Discussion interviewer, Thomas Edison Pena. All right.
What's up, brother Vaughn?
Yeah. Okay, so, we're gonna do rotations. Let's go with Dr. Tim. Initial challenges. Let's leave COVID out, but let's just go from the challenges when you guys first opened. So, Dr. Tim, what were your challenges when you transitioned to full time, if any?
There weren't any by then.
Oh, you had smooth sailing.
So the thing here is this. I started teaching. Actually, I was doing seminars before I was even a black belt. People were reaching out to me for the art. So I had revenue coming in from teaching seminars. While Remy was alive, I was doing about 20 seminars a year. And then after he died, I did 2 decades of 30, 35 seminars a year. Miguel's been at a few of them. So that's a lot of extra revenue coming in that changes things. But my issue was not. Oh yeah, so I went full time. Really, 2001, September 11th. Okay. September 11th, 2001, right? Yeah, that was when that was the year, the 2001. So I started teaching 87, so it was 87 to 2000 that I was dealing with all of my issues, like, your weapons, you don't do open hands. Now, we know that there's a lot of Filipino martial arts that don't do any open hand combatives. Okay. Fortunately, Professor Praces had an open hand combative program, but I didn't know how to, when I initially started during that time when I was, cutting my teeth, I didn't know how to demonstrate it well. I didn't know how to articulate well. So fortunately, when I had the day job is when I was making all the verbal mistakes, not being able, people ask me questions. Oh, what are you going to do when you don't have a stick? Oh no, there's plenty of open hand, but it's a trademark of what we do. So, like right now, what I do is I have every week there's a different theme. There's punching, kicking, locking, throwing, weapon techniques, forms, repeat. And during those, in some of those weeks, like when I'm doing weapons, we do stick sparring. When we do open hand forms, we do, or when I'm doing the Panatukan week, I do open hand fighting. So, but before, there was all weird. Oh, I don't want my kids learning weapons and stuff like that. Now it's like, well, listen, it's not a weapon; it's a teaching tool. And the thing here is, I understand what you're concerned about with it being a stick fighting, because if you've done your Google research, we're stick, knife, and sword. But really, what we're doing is teaching club defenses. What do you do first? You first learn how to punch, and then you learn how to block. Well, you learn how to stick swings, and then you learn how to block against it. We've seen in media, where it be in entertainment, video games, movies, television, when a gun comes out, you run for cover. So we know how to deal with that. How do you deal with a stick? So first, we teach you the angles of attack, and then we teach you the corresponding blocks and defenses. So really, it's a teaching tool for movement and concepts. Or a lot of times, I put a knife in someone's hand because now they don't have to think from their left or their right. They go knife, they go the grabber and the stabber. And then when you take that out, slap, grab, hit, cut, grab, hit, block, grab, hit, it's all the same movement. So my problem was prior to me going full-time, to figure out what to say. Because now, I had an instructor for about a year and a half. Then I left. Remy came to me and reached out and said, you can be my student directly. I'd have Remy on the weekends. I didn't have a day-to-day instructor. So there's a lot of trial and error, because unlike everybody else in my industry that I know of, I started in Modern East. I had no other background, and I didn't have that martial compass to show me the ABCs of teaching people. It was trial and error. People asked different questions, and I figured it out.
Okay. No. So based on your prior experience in opening and seminars, you kind of had a leg up, or a jump.
By the time I went full time, I had worked all this stuff out. I wouldn't tell anyone to go full time. I go, have a job, have an education, and then open up a part-time club, and then see if it's right for you. Who goes in our industry? Who goes into martial arts to open up a school?
Not this guy.
I don't know of anybody who started martial arts just for the business of martial arts. I know they got in because they loved it.
Yeah, I gotcha. Right. And then the passion developed into, exactly.
You can say the Koreans, but that's Taekwondo's in their system, is their education system. So they don't have to. A lot of them, it's a good business for them, but they don't go to school thinking, hey, I'm going to become a Taekwondo guy. It might happen. But we back into our industry, which is why Forbes did an article a long time ago that martial arts was the biggest growing art in the industry. Or business in the industry one year was when Karate Kid came out. It was also the biggest closing one too, because no one knew how to teach the kids.
Yeah, right. So quick openings, quick closings.
Terrible retention.
Maestro Miguel, initial challenges for you.
I don't know that we had any challenges, Dean. We started covering the RAN, I think, in the first 2 or 3 months when we opened up, and
fantastic.
Aside from teaching martial arts, we really had no idea how to run it as a business. So we didn't do anything any different. We're doing it out of passion. So we're fortunate. We were fortunate that we were able to take the students with us from our original location, and very fortunate that we got new students at this location. So we've been very fortunate.
Yeah, no. It must have been that passion that people saw and were attracted to. I'm sure. And Maestro Neil, how about you? Any initial challenges upon opening up your place in Jupiter?
Beyond challenges.
All right, we're finally getting somebody that had challenges.
There were so many challenges. Well, the next about being at those bars when Miguel was there. He's just this big, jolly old guy, man. Constant smile. I never think I ever saw the guy.
Probably sell it, right? He sells it just by
Yeah, him was selling a good marketer. So the nice thing is I got off to the bat really great with a marketing company at the time called Full Contact Online Marketing with Michael Perella. Absolutely unbelievable when it comes to website marketing, opt-ins, emails, leading those people to get in. So I didn't have any issue as far as getting people in the door. What I had an issue with is teaching. So on week one, when I opened, I had pool noodles with 5-year-olds thinking that I was going to teach them a double stick, and beyond a nightmare. So that's all I knew, though. I only knew dos y pares. I only knew what I was taught, and I learned very quickly is that teaching kids, sticks and double sticks right off the bat was going to be very difficult, especially when you start at 4 years old, 5 years old, these 6 years old. So my initial mistake was also including too complicated of a curriculum, because what you do when you have a complicated curriculum, you begin to narrow down basically the kids who aren't good, they quit. The kids who stay are the ones you get really good. And the new kids that come in basically can't keep up with the other kids. So I had to pare down the curriculum. So 4 years ago, I did the best decision I ever made. As I said, I got to figure out how to teach kids. Now, at this time, albeit, I have 130 students in my school, all kids. And I said, I need to do something different as far as learning how to do it. I need to invest some money. So I heard about a JKD guy that went up to Rhode Island to learn from Greg Horton. And Greg Horton is someone who learned from Bill Clark of the ATA, Master von Schmeling of Victory Martial Arts, which is very heavy ATA. And I went and watched Greg Horton's program, which is traditional martial arts. You can go traditional Taekwondo on the front end. And then on the back end, as kids are getting to towards black belt, it's very FMA, very JKD. But within the first 5 minutes, I was blown away. Everybody who goes and sees Mr. Horton and watches that program walks away thinking, I'll never be able to teach a kids program the way I ever taught it again. And from there is where I transformed into teaching a different program. But from that, I still struggle till this day, even recently in the last year, as I tightened up what I did on the mat, and now I'm getting better at the systems. How does somebody opt in? To what text message? Email? How can they schedule an appointment? How do we follow up? How do they have a good first class, a great intro? To all those things. How do we follow up with them after they've come into their first class, their first month, their first 2 months? All of the things that we hinted at a little bit earlier as far as retention. But the big one at the beginning was how to teach. And once you understand how to teach, all you got to do is just worry about the system. So the goal of my school is that the people who become instructors in my school, not only will they be able to teach at my school, but they should be able to walk into any other martial arts school when they go off to college and probably be one of the top instructors, if not better than the owner.
They can carry that. They can carry that skill set over. Interesting. Yeah. All right. So next, we're going to do. Who do we? Let's start first. Who we start first? We start with Datu Tim. Let's go with Maestro Miguel. Then we'll swing around back to Maestro Neil. Maestro Miguel, what did you do for enrollment? I mean, in other words, I know you moved from one place to another, and I'm assuming a good chunk of those people came with you. But what did you do though to continue enrollment or to enhance it? Just again. Some of these questions are going to be centered around obviously finding out what you guys did, but for those who maybe are thinking about pursuing this, they would kind of get some, pointers from you guys and all that. So you moved students over, but how did you continue the enrollment, or did you do anything to enhance it?
Dean, the only form of lead generation that we did do is post on social media. Like I said, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate to still be here, and we're very fortunate that we got this gym up and rolling right off the bat. I don't have the training that Master Neil. In fact, I need to talk to him later about flying him out of here. So that's all we did
out here for some yo-yo training.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So I mean, we have a storefront. I know the storefront helps. So we're in a strip mall.
Okay. So good
we have a storefront. We have a big sign up in front of our gym that says Filipino martial arts, kickboxing, our needs, you know. So people stop in. We get a lot of people say, hey, you know, I drive by here all the time, and I thought I'd just stop in and see what you guys do. And then, you know, eventually we invite them to train a couple days, and more times than not, they sign up and they stick with us.
All right. Well, obviously you guys are doing something right. I mean, they're coming in.
We've really been blessed. Yes.
Master Neil, enhanced enrollment. I mean, how did you get people in the door, and how did you continue to get people in the door?
That's a great question. So when I first opened, we got a website from Michael Perella's company, Full Contact Online Marketing, which at the time was the most revolutionary website out there as far as opting in. So what I do right now is I consistently spend anywhere from $850 to $2,000 a month on social media ads per month in order to get opt-ins, because we know when someone comes to art school, the first one to reach out to them and to get them in the door, that's most likely who they're going to sign up with. So we do a really good job right now. But nowadays, you can't just have a website. You know, you have to have a strong Google My Business page, an incredibly strong Google My Business page. Google Ads are absolutely essential. And then once somebody, though, gets your website and then opts in, I've been pretty fanatical for the last 2 years about using Keep or Infusionsoft, or now using a new martial arts software called Pulse from Steven Reinstein at Market Muscles. How do you reach out to those people within minutes with a text message, with email, and to get them to self-schedule an appointment to come in? So our focus right now is how to get them to self-schedule. But once they self-schedule, you still need to send emails to remind them to come into their appointment.
Yeah.
A link inside the email which says, hey, take a look at this parent testimonial about what our parents believe and think. And so there's a lot more than just, hey, schedule an appointment and then come in. You have to send them reminders about coming in, and enroll. You need to continue, again, sell them on the program. And one of the things that I've gone from is I no longer sell martial arts. I don't sell Filipino martial arts. I'm not, the Paul Vunak, Delta Force, kick-ass, I'm wearing the camo jeans, bikini Tersha type thing. I'm just rising sun martial arts and focus on the parents want a little bit of focus, discipline, and goals for their child. And if I can deliver that, then I'm good. It doesn't matter if I teach Kung Fu. It doesn't matter if I teach Taekwondo. But Filipino martial arts is really well set, though, in order to achieve those things. We talk about, kids being responsible for a weapon. So when they get a pool noodle in my program, hey, you're now holding a weapon. You're holding something that can cause somebody else danger. How are you going to hold it? How are you going to have control of that when we're explaining or when we're doing something? How are you going to stand up and not whack somebody next to you with that? Start providing that, and I can start passing out 20 pool noodles in a class, and not a single kid start whacking the person.
Yeah, right.
It says a lot to parents about what their child is actually learning. So it's not that they're learning. It's that they're learning self-control, that they're learning focus and discipline. That I use in order to deliver that, though, is Filipino martial arts. And we talk a lot about, the center line later on as they cross the center line, what that does, kind of like Paul McCarthy type of stuff. PTSD, because I'm rated by the VA with a 50% PTSD. And I know that being in the Philippines significantly assisted with those things. So those are the things which I now do upon enrollment. There's very little talk about martial arts and how kick-ass it's going to be for their child. And I think Grandmaster Hartman, he also I think above his school, he calls it karate. Above my school, it says martial arts. I don't try to sell martial art or Filipino martial arts. I just sell martial.
That's
Once
interesting.
then they begin to know that we're teaching it because it says
Yeah.
on our logo. I start talking and giving them tests. How many islands are in the Philippines, and just simple little things.
Yeah, geography. Sure.
Sell it as FMA because Mr. Horton doesn't sell it as FMA. Mr. Horton's got 8-9 schools, and he's absolutely killing it.
That's interesting. You just brought up not that you have martial arts on the door, and then when they come in and they get acclimated and they're studying, then they get to understand what they're doing. That's and again, I bring up these points just for those who are viewing who might have an inclination to want to open up a school, but just maybe don't know how to go about it, and that's what kind of you guys are going to do with your seasoned background. Now, be sure you don't have any of your kids dressing up in camouflage. Come on, man.
No, I think Grandmaster probably even a bit more traditional than me. I am literally black karate pants, a fit t-shirt because I'm here in South Florida, and that is it. I don't do a uniform. Mr. Miguel is probably even more traditional than me in his Dos Ibarras class. But to me, it's just t-shirt. Literally the gi pants, black, and then the dry fit shirt, and we go from there. If
it works, it works.
Yeah, it's not about the art. It is about, do we deliver the results that the parents want, and the mechanism and the delivery vehicle that I use for that is FMA.
Yeah, awesome. Dr. Tim, well, we already know you ran into very little problems, so I guess let's just focus on how you continue to enhance your enrollment. Let's see.
So a lot of mine, to be honest with you, a lot of mine's organic. I've had a website long before anybody else did. I do very little paid advertising. I tried for a short period of time, and then Facebook got crazy. Facebook is the future purchases. Google is the fast purchase. So you got to be on this when you're doing stuff. You definitely want to be on more than one platform. But if you're looking, when you do stuff on Facebook, it's about conditioning people for a future purchase. That's where Neil was saying with the Google ads, they're just definitely a lot better. Now, I also, for over 25 years, have been working with the West Seneca school system. So they have a thing called the Continuing Education Department. So it is after school programs that anybody in the community can be part of. They teach computer work, sometimes horseback riding, sometimes scuba diving. I've been doing martial arts through them for since '91. So they advertise. So I'll put in the courses. They'll do a 4 to 6 week course. They'll put it in the community. Everybody in West Seneca, my town, gets it. Anyone outside of that area who's done the classes in the past, because we have one of the largest continuing education departments in New York State. So if you've been part of that, you'll get copies of that. And then I got it worked out where they only take a couple dollars from each course for an administration fee, and they give me most of the money, and they advertise for me. They register for me, then send me the students. So I've built my school on that. So 4 times a year now. This we took the summer off. I've decided that this summer, because of, and I know we're staying away from COVID, but it's
no, I mean completely.
We got to talk about. We're not going to get about politics. We're going to talk about how it affected our business and stuff. I didn't miss a beat during COVID.
No.
I just couldn't do. I just couldn't use the school. I had to do virtual.
Yeah, right.
But the thing here is, I've been doing this for like 20-something years, over 25 years, and they pay me to advertise my business for me. So I'll do little arnisadors, which is the 4 to 6 year olds, junior arnisadors, 7 to 12-year-olds, adult for martial arts. I've done a mommy and me karate class, and here's the thing: I I don't want to come off insincere because when we are passionate about how to do the business, but you first have to have a quality product. Now, Miguel, you've seen my people. You've seen Mr. Craig. Can he hold his own?
Yes, sir. High quality, good movement.
Okay. Also fights with the Dog Brothers. Now, I'm not putting you on the spot, and just because I know where you live, don't have to answer this. But I mean, you've seen me teach. I know what I'm doing, right?
I like you, and I like your style, and your movement is great. But the thing I like about you the most is your swagger.
The swagger. You
Swagger.
need to be able to teach. I don't give a damn how good you are. I don't care how good you are at business. If you don't have a quality product. And the thing here is, and listen, and I say this to everybody, this is not what I wanted to do as a bit. Actually, I wanted to own a martial arts school. I also wanted to be an astronaut. I also wanted to be a NASCAR driver. I also wanted to be an actor. These are all the things that I said would be cool, but I figured I would be working in an automotive store as management the rest of my life, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed that job. Things lined up, but I still have to put a quality product. Now, I'm going to say a little different than Neil said. We promote martial arts because people don't know what Filipino martial arts is. We are the ugly stepchild of the martial art world. We are in every freaking movie. We've got more visibility in media than anyone else, but we don't get our props because we're not Taekwondo. Now, there's things that we could do better. Okay. Uniforms. Now, Neil's not wearing a traditional uniform, but is everyone wearing those black gi pants and the T-shirt, Neil? Did you hear me, Neil?
I mute myself. Yes, everybody wears the gi pants and a T-shirt.
A uniform. There you go. Doesn't mean you got to be. Now, if you go to the Philippines, what are they wearing? I'll tell you what they're wearing. They're wearing Americanized karate gis.
Yeah.
Because it all came from the sport karate uniform, that flip over Velcro thing that Century came up with, that everyone's copying except for Dos Pares. Theirs is a pullover. But
button up.
Button up. There you go. So you got a little Chinese influence in there as well. But the thing here is, when you look back in the days, you watch Anchan, you watch Remy, you watch all the Dos Pares people. What were they working out in when you look at the old books? Street clothes.
Oh yeah.
Everyone wants to be part of a team. And if the viewers are just taking this one thing from me, mandatory T-shirt. Everyone has to wear the same damn thing. You go to a sporting event, everyone's wearing the damn jersey, right? And everyone wants to be part of the team. And plus they have that investment. They come in, they've got a uniform. I had Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in my club. I didn't teach it. I do a little on the side, but it's not what I do. And once we went to making a gi mandatory, retention skyrocketed because there's an investment.
Interesting.
And the other thing here is we're talking professional, okay? Then you need to carry yourself professional. I watched a Jeet Kune Do group. I'm going to call bullshit on a lot of groups now. Here we go. I was up in Toronto at the CNE, which is the Canadian National Expo. My friend Rudy Casico, who just passed away recently, has a Shotokan and our niece group. They came up with the Century Splice uniforms. They all looking really sharp and together, and some were sleeveless, some were full, the 3/4 sleeve. Man, they looked amazing. Then the Jeet Kune Do Club came up. Nobody was wearing matching shirts, matching shorts, matching shoes. I thought I was watching a gym workout. I'm saying, what in God's name are we looking at here? If you want people to join the team, you got to have a team. Look at the longest yard, either version of the longest yard. It doesn't matter. They all got those misfits uniforms, but when it was game day, they all had the team uniform. And my God, did they look? I remember wearing my first uniform, being part of the team. I remember wearing a jersey. I remember being on the swim team, although it was only a little Speedo, but that's another story. But I remember when we all had the school jacket. I remember when we all had the hoodies for the team or the windbreakers. It goes a long way to develop that unity, that community. But when you walk in, and like I said, it doesn't matter what they're wearing, but if everyone's wearing a matching T-shirt, you know something's going on. You know, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, well, they're Scouts now, military, firefighters, you name it, there's uniforms. Okay. You know, when someone comes in the club, you want to know who's on the floor, who's the instructor. You should be dressed that way, you know. And when I was around the tie guys, they have, you know, they want you wearing tie shorts because that's their uniform. Oh, look, there's a pair of shorts behind you. Do people have to wear those, Miguel?
Yeah, these are our uniform.
They have to wear it?
Child size.
Yeah, I don't see you fitting in that one.
Okay.
I'd be way too sexy if I wore these, Tim.
Yeah, I couldn't contain myself. But does everyone have to wear those?
We don't require it, but you know, when the students get involved and they start to get a grasp of what we're teaching, they ask for them, and we have them here for sale. So, but I think I agree with everything you said about the uniforms and being part of the team. You hit the nail right on the head.
Doesn't have to be a karate gi. Doesn't have to be a dobak, the taekwondo uniform, but it should be something. I mean, when I'm at a lot of, there we go. There's the Cordova shirt. Here's the latest, what my instructor, the camera's backwards. My instructors, when we're at the camp, we have several, this is World Moderniste. There we go. We come out, the instructors have their golf shirts on, and I'm wearing cargo pants. That we have multiple uniforms we wear. It's like, all right, what are we doing? We're dressing tactical. Okay. What are we wearing today? Okay, we're doing we're wearing our tux, which is the Filipino traditional uniform. What are we doing? Okay, we're doing traditional. I went to karate gis because Century stopped making Filipino I'm sorry. Century made the sport fighting, the competition gi that Remy adopted to modern Arnis. They stopped making it. I went to Remy. What are we going to do? He goes, I don't know. I went to a karate gi. Why? They're inexpensive, easy to get a hold of, and durable as hell. So we wear a karate gi. And in the summer, I'll let them wear the school T-shirt or fight shorts. You know, but I've got air conditioning in the summer, and I got heat in the winter, which a lot of people usually have it backwards.
So, something I forget how this came up in the past episode, whatever, and I forget how it even came up because actually it wasn't even that relevant to this to the people I had on. But anyway, it is my belief that FMA needs to take, as a community, needs to be more professional as far as school pricing. Like you look at, like Taekwondo keeps coming up and all that as a template to use, or their business model, which obviously is very well. But if you even look at BJJ today, their schools, MMA schools, I mean, they really have systems in place for success. I don't see that with FMA today. And I think that's a reason why they're behind. And you three being school owners, I really want to tap into that, not for just people or maybe for full time, but even the ones who are doing part time, or even the ones who teach privately, whatever capacity he or she may be in. And who is Neil? So you get the tackles one first, and then we'll get.
What's the exact question?
You know.
Restate the question there, Dean.
Oh, restate the question. Okay, so my question basically is. I think FMA as a whole needs to do better with a more, as far as pricing, professional packaging, their product, their teaching. Like I look at, compare and contrast, like I look at MMA schools, what they do now, they're not in the garages anymore. I mean, you have fully developed MMA schools, BJJ schools. I mean, obviously Taekwondo being the business model that we've spoken on, but I think FMA is kind of behind the eight ball, as far as like what these other styles have adapted, as far as a business model and success they're achieving.
Right.
You guys are doing it, but if you look at FMA as a whole, it's not happening. And I'm not talking about just schools. Like it could be subletting, guys who have maybe 10 students or subletting, but they're not charging much because they don't feel like they can. So I think there's a mindset change that needs to occur, along with a systems to be in place. I know I'm going on a bit there, but that's kind of what, see what you guys think on that, if I'm correct or if I'm off target.
I think the first thing is to understand, Dean, is that when you teach, being a black belt does not qualify you to teach. What you are is you're good at a physical martial arts. It has nothing to say about your ability to communicate and be an effective leader. It means that you are adept at, what you do physically. So therefore, if you want to teach, is you got to break down who are you going to teach. 4 and 5-year-olds are a different skill set than 6 to 11-year-olds. The teenagers are a bit off, different than adults. Not too much, but just a bit off, because they want something more. They're the first group above 12 and above, that are really now about the challenge, the physical and the mental. And that's really what FMA is really good at in that aspect. So the first thing is knowing, who you're going to teach and what the outcome of teaching those different age groups in, and then learning how to teach. And then there's different people, there's different mentors. So for the people who want to get into this full time, it is finding people who are wildly successful in teaching FMA or aspects of FMA. I am moderately successful, but I point to Greg Horton. I point to Taekwondo people who understand how to institute a structure into their system, as far as, a curriculum that's structured, which I highly recommend a rotating curriculum. People that know not like BJJ, which, hey, we're gonna promote you when we feel like it. I mean, that's garbage.
No, I know it's in that aspect. That's open. Yeah,
that's garbage. Knowing when you're going to test, how often you're going to test, making sure that you charge belt test fees. I just instituted belt test fees 6 months ago, like a big idiot. I did not do it for about 7 years, like a humongous idiot. I did not do it.
Everybody says that, belt test, charge.
Belt test, because your students are going to treat it more seriously. The parents are going to.
That's true.
As having a rank system, and then also teaching enough that you're not over teaching. Because I could do a whole thing with you probably on the concepts of teaching, the 4-quadrant theory that ATA, structure, emotion, knowledge, and legacy, and just what structure is. But the first thing that FMA schools is they need that structure of, what are we going to teach to certain grades, or to certain ages, and then what's our belt levels? How often are we going to test? What is the belt test fee? And then knowing for your market what you can charge. When I first started 7 years ago, because I was a novice instructor, I could charge $130 a month. That's exactly where I should have been at. Now today, I can charge upwards of $229 a month.
Wow!
Because teaching. I know how to deliver a curriculum.
That's fantastic that you're getting that. For FMA, that's mind blowing. That's fantastic, though. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to admit they're going to teach military by far before I teach military law enforcement. Hands down. But you put me in front of a group of kids, that ball game is going to change quite a bit of where my skill set lies. So I am not making any kind of claim that I don't want anything to do with military and law enforcement and being in the front of clubs and being that doorman or anybody else, or being the next Richard Dimitri, kind of thing of FMA. I am simply, hey, I love teaching kids and delivering the result that I can get to kids. And when you get that bread and butter down, you can really charge a lot of money for your program.
Good for you. You're absolutely doing something right. Good for you. Datu Tim, what say you on that spiel I just gave some minutes back?
Well, let's put things in better context. Okay, Neil, because we have to put everything in context. What is the average martial arts school charging per month in your area?
In my area, I'm in Jupiter, so my area is probably going to be, I'm the most expensive in my area by far, because that's how I want it to be. I demand that I'm the most expensive.
Whatever. I'm not asking that. I'm just, what's the average
So the average is going to charge between 139 and probably 179.
Okay.
And
So, so right off the bat, Neil's in an area that's charging 139 to 179 a month for all martial arts. So, Dean, don't think of this as wow, Filipino martial arts can get that much. You need to know, like, I'm charging $150 a month before any upgrades or privates and stuff like that. Okay. That's in Buffalo. I'm at the high end. Okay. I know people in California in some areas are charging close to $200 a month, but they're in the Bay Area. They're right downtown San Francisco. So, that's a whole nother animal. And I'm not talking FMA, just martial arts in general. So first of all, you need to know what the market is. But, but here's so it just comes out wrong every way I say it. The problem is that how we got into what we do. Let's put it this way. Do you know, Dean, if anyone said, I'm going to be a Filipino martial arts instructor first and then set out to be a businessman in that?
Not up to date, no.
Okay, so how many of those people do you think ever learned martial business?
The people I know, zero.
So the mindset is, and we're behind as Filipino martial artists. Our community is behind we're terrible. We are probably 20 years behind everybody else.
I agree.
And we've got a phenomenal program to offer. I mean, I know Taekwondo schools are charging $200 a month, and they're not even French vanilla compared to us. It's vanilla ice cream. We are so much more than that. All right. Doing an H pattern, I can get $200 a month doing that. Whippy ding dong. All right. And look at all the stuff we do. And most of my clients for my seminars are the Taekwondo schools and the karate schools because they're looking to add what I have to them. The nice thing about Filipino martial arts is we're that universal accessory that can plug into any other kind of program. But for ourselves, we don't understand the value of what we do. And too many of our people are too proud, headstrong, ignorant to go get an education. They are grandmaster. Okay. Ray Galan?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Ray's an acquaintance of mine. I wrote for his book, Warrior Arts of the Philippines. I went to one of his tournaments at his club. Nice place. He shared it with the Muay Thai place. It's very gritty, and I like that. It's got attitude. So he had a NAPMA sticker, which is an association that I belong to. And I'm like, oh, at the time I did. And I'm like, oh, you remember NAPMA too? Yeah, it didn't do me any good. Did you not like the ads? You do this. He had this mindset that joining the association would automatically bring in people through the door. No, they offer you a monthly packet of information, including videos and stuff like that you have to open books, read, and do your work. Most of our industry just doesn't go out. And for as much money as I spent on my martial education, I spent a lot of money to do the things that I do. All right. I've begun putting the same investment in my martial business education. Now, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars over the years to find out what doesn't work. But you're not going to know unless you try. You have to get an education. I mean, the biggest thing is education. If you, how much money have you spent in your education for your martial arts, Dean?
Me?
Yeah.
To date, none. But my
no. You didn't listen to what I said. Your martial education.
My martial. Oh, okay. With
Your screamer.
Yeah, probably. Gosh, thousands.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, definitely thousands. Yeah.
I know I've probably spent $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 easy, and I continue to invest in my martial education, not my business education, my martial education.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So So you had a program. You were teaching for a while, right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I had an MMA for kids and FMA for kids. I opened in 2001.
And who taught you how to do the business?
Myself.
So that's your problem. That's your problem.
No, but here's the thing, though. Like you, I was working full time, and I had the business and there. So I didn't, because the business, and it was doing well. I had with satellites, I did a lot like you did through rec programs, getting the rec. They would do all my advertising, all that.
Yep.
So I had 150 students. Okay. So it was definitely doing well. Problem is, I was definitely undercharging. I wasn't charging what I should have been charging, because I think I was complacent. And the reason why I think I was complacent was because I wasn't looking at this as my needed income. And the other thing, it was an experiment for me. And what I mean by that is like, can kids learn this FMA? I mean, I'm going back 2001, and people, maybe some people, no way, it's financial suicide, don't do it, the whole 9 yards. And but I was definitely undercharging.
Well, but the thing here is, if you would have went out and got an education in how to run a business,
correct.
a marshal, there's NAPMA, there's Maya, there's MATA. Dave Kovar has programs. Rondi McKee, a good friend of mine, she is the White Tiger program out there. There's plenty of people out there that teach martial business. I'm a fan of Maya at the moment, although I listen to as many different people as I can get in front of me. But at the end, and so that's a big thing right there. But the other side, though, here's the one thing you got to remember this, and this is where the problem, a lot of people get it twisted. Loyalty is earned, not demanded. So a lot of times people think, well, you're paying for the honor to work with me. No, I am paying you money. See, when I host the list of people that I've brought in. Okay, Grandmaster Remy Amador Praces, my teacher, my adopted father. When he came into Buffalo, he was my damn employee. I paid him money. I told him what I wanted. He gave me what I needed. End of story. Dr. Mungji, another person who's very near and dear to my heart. When I bring him in for a seminar, he was my employee. And here we go. Now I'm talking grandmasters who outrank me 10 times over, and they're my employees. I'm not paying for the honor to work with these guys. I'm paying money to. Now, my first Maya convention or NAPMA convention I went to, everyone's like, "Who are you going to study with? One guy saw him. I'm going to work on retention, and I'm going to work on this one on birthday parties. I'm going to work on this one on rotating curriculum. Where are you going? I'm going to Fumio Demura. What do you mean? He's a living legend. Okay, now I did all the business shit. I was done, and here's Fumio Demura. And like, this guy was one of the pioneers from martial arts. We might not be doing what we do today if it wasn't for people like him in the trenches getting martial arts exposure. And the seminar really was useless for me for what he was doing. It didn't apply, but it was Fumio Demura. So in that case, it was like, hey, I'm going to go see one of my idols coming up, for the years. But at the end of the day, that was me doing something there. If I was going to deal with him on a regular basis, I'm paying. If I don't get, I hire somebody new. And the problem here is people forget that customers are the same way. They're paying for a service, and if they don't get it, just because they quit, it doesn't mean that there's no loyalty. No. Do you go to a crappy if you go to a restaurant forever and a day and the service keeps going down and you leave, are you disloyal? You're paying for the service. You're not getting it. And the same thing with us in our industry. Now I will say this, it is rough in our industry when you've talked people for years and then all of a sudden they take off on you. But when someone leaves my club, you know what the first thing I think about is? What could I have done better? Is it me? Is it me? Or, oh no, they're going away to college, they're moving, they're whatever. But maybe they got bored. Maybe they just did the end of it, So the big thing is the mindset. You need to get an education first and foremost. And we got to stop this. The whole comment, I'm not insulting you I'm not trying to insult you when I say this. Your question is bullshit. We can't look at ourselves as second-class citizens. The whole time you're like, oh, well, Filipino martial arts, I can't believe we're getting the money. Screw you and everyone else who says that bullshit. Come on, look at the SIACs did. They were charging more money than Taekwondo or Taekwondo.
It's not really me, again, because I'm not really in the business anymore. I just see how far we're behind the industry.
That's you know what? That's people got to get out of their, they got to get out of their own way. Here's the other thing too.
The mindset has to change.
Do you want a club or do you want a school?
That's what I mean. The mindset has to change.
I agree. Hartman as Dean is that when I went to Mr. Horton's program, is at the end of the day, he said something simple. He said, he goes, raise your hand if you had $5,000 more dollars. If you would, what would you do if you had $5,000 and I give you two choices? Would you give that money to somebody who could train you up even further in your martial arts skill? Would that get you more students? Or would $5,000 paying me to show you how I just taught those kids this weekend would get you more students? But the fact of the matter is I couldn't pay $5,000. Over the course of 2 years, I had to pay Mr. Horton nearly $40,000 for a degree in learning how to teach and understanding how to teach. So today, I no longer try to upgrade my skills because I understand that I'm not teaching military, law enforcement, and doormen. I'm teaching kids. And I want to do that because I also looked at FMA and I thought, where is the money? And the money's in kids.
Yeah.
Program and the money and the parents who have those kids. That is how Taekwondo grew their program by teaching.
Oh my God! 100%.
A program, getting parents to join that program, and then getting parents to become teachers in your program, and that's where Taekwondo has totally excelled. So now today, I do not talk to anybody, not a single colleague do I talk to, a peer of mine that is a martial arts school owner who has less than 120 students like me. They have to have more. They have to be making more money than me. This make $115,000 to $150,000 teaching kids, depending on how the last few months go.
Yeah, why would you talk to them? Right. Yeah.
And I will not talk to nor get business advice from people who aren't at that. I have to do that to people who are at least twice as successful to me. So the person who I talk to on a daily basis, Adam Spiker, who owns 3 Taekwondo schools in Dallas, Texas, is the guy that I constantly am on the phone with.
Right.
Yeah, I have to be mentored on a daily basis on those things because my main goal right now is not to propagate Filipino martial arts. That's a side hustle as a result of me trying to feed my family, trying to put money on the food table, and then saving for my retirement so I can move back to the Philippines and then upgrade my skills once I'm retired, which I would really like to do.
We gotta get Mike in here. Sorry, Maestro. Mike, what say you on all this?
I think Datu Tim hit and also Master Neil, they hit it right on the head. You have to educate yourself. No matter how good you are of a teacher or a martial artist, you have to educate yourself on the business end of it. And that's where our gym is at right now. So we've never really done it for the money. We've done it to create the best Filipino martial artists that we can. We put fighters in amateur shows in the ring. We put Eskrima fighters in local tournaments, world tournaments, and everything in between. And it feels good. Win or lose, it feels good. But, we've been doing this for a while, and we still love teaching in the way we've been doing. But I do want to learn the business end of it, like my 2 colleagues here have been talking about.
Yeah, once you do that, man, then you'll probably really, since you are already pretty successful. I got a really good, I thought it was a great question from Emmanuel on the test run, and all you guys can get a crack at it. And this is his question: Some styles lead themselves to commercial schools, and others that have possible, and others that possibly have no chance. So they kind of maybe fill in some of the blanks here. Like you guys absolutely have styles out of that. Like if I had to fill in the blank that styles had no chance without talking to them, I would say, I don't know, Dog Brothers. Lack of a better, just something that comes quickly in my mind. That
and it's garbage. That garbage. Anybody from any style, it doesn't matter, can make a commercial school.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Taekwondo, capoeira, BJJ. Anybody can make it happen in a.
Yeah, he's talking about definitely within the lens of FMA, though.
Yes, anybody can take FMA today, tomorrow, open a school, have $5,000 in rent, have a total operating expenses of 10 grand, and within 6 months have it a very, very successful and profitable school. Anybody can do that. You know, how much education are you going to get before you open? What's your mindset when you open? Are you going to be more loyal to your style or to your customers? Anybody can literally do this. Style is absolutely irrelevant. FMA needs more schools out there, needs more people to be taking the risk.
I agree. People
give up the ego of my style is tactical X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to teach SEAL Team 6 and all these Leo, blah, 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 and just start saying, hey, why don't we take what Taekwondo did and start teaching families, start teaching kids, and growing it from there? Because within there is where you're going to find your rock stars.
Okay.
The kids who didn't know,
yeah,
Master Hartman didn't even know you're going to have a rock star with some of these kids until they come into your program.
Until you get them in there and you see them and all that. So, all right. So let's look at Emmanuel's question again. He's saying, okay, lead themselves better for commercial schools. So you guys, thus far, you guys are under impression that regardless of style, they still can succeed in a commercial school.
No.
Within the FMA lens.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I'll disagree with Neil 100%. There's a lot of good things that Neil did say, but here's the thing. You need to have first of all, not everyone can do it or they'd be doing it, Neil. You're very passionate about what you're saying, but if anyone could do it, they would have done it already. Not everyone can do it. You got to be special. You got to be committed. You got to, it's like, oh, you know what? I want that body over there. Okay, well, go to the gym. Well, no, you don't want the body. You don't want to put the work in. Not everyone has the talent to do things, the commitment.
Or the work.
The other thing here is some systems are not conducive to this. Now, Kendo is a very hard sell for a full-time martial art program. Now, Neil, you added some non-Filipino elements to what you're doing, correct?
Yes and no. There's just a large boxing component that kids need to know.
Okay.
Jab, cross, hook, uppercut, and all the basics. But it's I don't teach any of the high flying kicks at Taekwondo. No,
I didn't say that. But some Filipino martial arts, as we know, don't have open hand combatants. So let's say Balintawak Eskrima, which is one of the arts I teach. Okay. If you're going to teach it verbatim, I don't see the school surviving because here's the problem with a lot of Filipino martial art programs out there. They're not complete. They're complete in their field, what they're teaching. So let's look at Balintawak. What is Balintawak? Dean, how would you explain to a layman what Balintawak Eskrima is?
Wing Chun of stick fighting.
A layman.
Okay, a layman. Good point. Layman. I would just say a very close range of sticks meeting together while there's implementation of the offhand and close proximity.
Okay, way too much. I'll make it simple. It is stick dueling like fencing. Okay. How real? Think about a lot of the arts out there. How many arts could be used in the street? I'm not talking this I mean, I go to the gathering where Miguel and I are men at the event, but yeah, and we go out eating and doing manly thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
But
with Hartman,
okay.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff. People are talking about stuff in the street. Well, I went to in this and this guy's down the road. He's doing Kaju and Kali, and he's block checking. He's hitting. And the guy in the street may block, so I have to redo this. And sometimes these guys do others. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This is not Big Trouble in Little China. No, people don't know this shit. And your system doesn't have that. How many people need open hand combatives? And if your system doesn't offer it, now, Miguel, you have 2 programs. So you have the luxury where one is lacking, the other could fulfill. And I don't know, I've done Doce Pares. I'm not certified. I had Doce Pares friends. So you tell me how much open hand combatives are emphasized in the system. Because when I've seen it, I haven't seen much of it.
We have it in our curriculum. We do practice it in our Eskrima class. But we do it maybe 10-15% of the time. Whether or not you have empty hands in your Eskrima class or whatever martial art, if you're only practicing empty hands 15% of the time and you have to fight against a guy who practice empty hands 100% of the time, you're probably at a disadvantage.
Yeah. The thing here is, though, and this is my point, if you are doing mostly, if not all, weapons, that's a hard sell these days in a full-time commercial school. That's my point. So when you say that all systems, because the question is, are there some systems that would have challenges more so than others? That's how I interpret it, right?
Yes.
Yes, in my opinion, I use the example of Dog Brothers. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it'd be tough to have a commercial set.
I think
Dog Brothers.
Okay, I'll tell you what. And this guy's a good friend of mine. But Bahalana, I don't know how much, if any, is open hand. Serrata Screama, don't know how much, if any, is open hand.
Open hand, I don't think.
Okay, so we can go through a list that might have 5-10% open hand combatives.
Yeah. No, I just use Dog Brothers. I'm sure there's definitely.
Yeah. So, but the thing here is, if you don't have a complete art, it's hard to do that, because what are people looking for? Because so I really don't like talking about the business as the martial arts is still important to me, and leveling up my skills is still important to me now, not when I retire, all the time. What's also important to me, not my side hustle, spreading the art. I'm concerned that Filipino martial arts are on the verge of extinction right now. Okay. I've already personally, I've done what I had to do. I've had hundreds of parents come up to me over the years, that I've seen after the kids have gone to college and stuff, that have thanked me for all the work I've done with their child, giving them confidence, help their gross motor skills. Because when a person comes through the door, what do I talk about? Gross motor skills and character development. But I also talk about that we will increase their chance of survival in a realistic situation. I don't do fantasy martial arts. Now, we do work fantasy material to build skills and attributes, because there's a lot of stuff that we're doing it may have been traditional combat, but it's not modern day combatives. I do the ungrouped method of Balintawak. I do the grouping method of Balintawak. Once again, stick dueling. I don't have people. You know what our stick dueling is? Someone swinging a baseball bat at you. And if you want to do a little unbraced block with me, and I think I said that the first time that Miguel and I met at the gathering, I'm doing brace and dos manos, because in Buffalo, we swing baseball bats at each other. And if you want to deal with that, that's fine. If you got the skill set, that's fine. But your students have the skill set to block a stick one-handed. And I think the answer, we know that. But the fact of the matter here is, if we don't, there are some arts that are not conducive to a full-time program in a commercial environment. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't do some modifications or put an open hand program with it as well. But if we're talking the system by itself, and if I perceive the question the way it was, the way you said it,
the question was just a system. Yeah.
I think that some systems definitely have a challenge, and if you don't modify things, I can see schools not surviving.
Yeah, I agree with it, especially the ones that are very spar oriented and weapon based. But Mike, Maestro Mike, any commentary on this?
No, not really. I agree. I agree with what Dr. Tim has said. I agree with a lot of the things Master Neil said.
I definitely like Master Neil's ambition and passion, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't argue that, man. That's for sure. But all right, next, let's go to how do you? Let's start with Maestro Mike. Tell us your ranking structure. You know, your curriculum. Does it rotate? Just if somebody were to jump in, how would they go about ranking, and how's your curriculum work?
In the Eskrima, we have a curriculum that we follow. It's the 12 Pares multi-style system. It's basically a 5-year curriculum. So if you come in and you practice, in 5 years you should be able to earn your black belt. In Yaoyan, we have a ranking system. It's by class. So when someone starts, they're going to be sixth class.
We haven't implemented.
Yeah,
It's something we're working on. Just
yeah. So with the Yaoyan, we give it as the student's skill level progresses. We do not have a examination for the Yaoyan. We give out rank accordingly every August at our Yaoyan anniversary.
Okay.
Mike, do your people start with does everyone that comes through the door starts with the same material?
Yes. For Yaoyan or
Yaoyan.
Yes. Yeah. They start. They learn the basic jab, straight, hook, upper, the kicks. We teach 3 basic kicks to beginners: push kick, stomping.
So we're all on the same page for our viewers. That would be considered a linear curriculum. So what you're doing is you're doing your ABCs in order, not skipping anything. So that would be a linear program, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when new people come in, it's a little challenging. And that's why a lot of people go towards that rotating curricular where, well, we can discuss that another time. But and how's your Eskrima done? Is that the same way?
No, Eskrima, we have a certain curriculum for each level. And then when we feel that the student is ready for examination, we have a set examination date, full dress. They have to examine in front of the class with spectators and whatnot. And afterwards, when they pass, we award their rank, a week later or whatnot.
When they start, do they do the same thing where, they learn their ABCs, or do they maybe learn?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So in both your program, I mean, the ranking is really doesn't matter in the rank, but your delivery system, how you teach your students, is that how a lot of us started off was that linear program. You start with A, then you go to B and C.
Yes.
So both your programs are linear in format.
Yes, and I think the Eskrima is a little bit more structured, so to speak.
Okay.
We actually follow a curriculum on the paper.
Nice.
Level.
Master Neil, what do you do rotating?
It's a really good question. I was a conglomeration of a lot of things, but again, after meeting Mr. Horton, we definitely do a rotating curriculum. Again, I teach kids, so the way I'm going to deliver that is based upon a simple concept: is that competence is the result of repetition. So we do, unlike BJJ and some other schools that will test you when you're ready or when you've completed the whole curriculum. We test every 8 to 9 weeks.
Okay.
And we have cycle 1, cycle 2, and cycle 3. cycle one is everybody, regardless of the program they're in, they learn the front kick, they learn the basics of the combination, and they learn the basics of the striking pattern that we do with a stick. And to really blow most people's minds away is our program is not based upon your ability to execute the skill level. Your promotion is based upon how often you come to class, because how often you come to class is going to be the determining factor of how you can execute the program. So by the end of 2 months, which is not too long for kids, and it's certainly not too short, as we give them just enough curriculum in that time frame. If they come to 12 out of 16 classes, they should be able to execute what we ask them to do. So on week one, whatever I do and teach on that first class, that's exactly what I'll be teaching on the test 8 to 9 weeks later. It's just a matter of which we vary the repetition of the same exact thing. So the kids get, by the end of that 8 weeks, they should get, let's say this cycle, I'm doing jab, cross, body punch, front kick. They should get that repetition around 1,200 to 1,500 times within a 8-week to a 9-week program.
Gotcha.
So that just speaks for itself. Obviously, if they come to class 12 out of 15 times, each time they come to class, they're getting at least 75 repetitions of that. They should be repping between 1,000 and 1,500 times on that. And then 8 to 9 weeks later, we change again what we're doing. And then they repeat that year 2. They repeat that year 3. They repeat that year 4. So by the time I have a black belt, I have kids who are insanely competent at kickboxing and at the fundamentals of striking. So therefore, at black belt, I can begin teaching them block check, counter, single stick, tomahawk, whatever it is that we're teaching kids. I just don't go heavy on curriculum. I go heavy on the amount of times they perform what we're asking them to do.
Repetition. Gotcha.
Yeah. Confidence is the result of competence. It's the same thing in the military, which I heavily borrow my philosophy from, is how often, how many repetitions I do something.
Interesting. Okay. And Datu Tim, you do rotating or linear?
So in my adults right now, we're working on switching over to rotating. I've been using the rotating curriculum for the kids.
Okay.
Actually, let me see if I could do this here.
Yeah, you can. I may have to. You know what? Let me drop myself, and then you'll be able to show.
Can you see that?
I could see it, but I'm not sure if anybody else can. If I drop myself, you should be able to post it up.
I don't know how to do that. Maybe I can't. Can you see? I don't know. I
can't see anything.
Oh, here we go. There we go. Can you see that right there, guys?
No.
You can't see the fourth window?
I see you, sir. That's all I see.
Okay, so there's a fourth window there, but let me... Yeah, okay. Well, we should not even bother with this. So I'm going to stop sharing. Dean, come on back.
That was strange because I was able to see it, and it's everything. That's strange.
So basically, what I was trying to show is that I actually did a photos of the school in case people wanted to see what a full-time school could look like. I've got a 5,000 square foot facility, but nonetheless, what we do is that we do gradings every 3 months, and I have a chart. They're all color coordinated. They're each module, and what happens is this is the course. Now they also represent the belt colors, but I look at each module as a credit hour. You will earn a credit hour at the end of the 3 months, providing you pass the competency test. You get your belt. So, an example: let's say katas were all we were going to do. Just say that was your testing format. So you have kata 1, kata 2, kata 3. All right. Now you came in while we were working kata 2. You'll learn kata 2. Because when you're done with kata 2, you'll learn kata 3. When you're done with kata 3, you'll go back and learn kata 1. If every one of those is for a belt level, you pass the form, you get the belt. So it really doesn't matter what order. I mean, so that's a little how the rotating curriculum will work, where you start with level 1, level 2, level 1, level 2, level 3. When you get done with level 3, you repeat. Now, it's best if you do it about 3 belt levels at a time. I don't have my classes divided up enough for that, so I have 4 in the beginners class. I've got 5 in the advanced class. The adults we're working on restreaming. My belts are a little bloated, so here's the thing, especially if you're teaching children. It's not about, you don't water anything down. You teach things that are age appropriate. And certain things there's a different standard. So I have 3 different belts systems, and when someone becomes a junior black belt, it's a black belt with a white stripe. And that means they've graduated from the kids, but the white stripe down the middle means they're a white belt in the adult program because we do a belting system. 3 months later, they take their next test. If they pass the test, they get a black belt with a yellow stripe, which means they're now a yellow belt adult. So they go through the curriculum twice. By the time a kid becomes an adult black belt, they've probably been with me 8 years. 8 years, they probably know the material. And if here's the key thing when people talk about junior black belts and adult black belts, if the curriculum is no different, then you shouldn't have a different grading system, because if the kids can do the same work as the adults, what's the sense of having 2 different programs? It's just like, it's a black belt, and it even showed, I'm not a big fan of giving out little kid black belts, but you've been around for 8 years, you might know something or two. But I do the rotating curriculum, and then each week I have a different theme, so it's not just one thing over and over again. I have these posted on the wall so everyone knows what is required for their belt level. I'll say, hey, we just got done doing the yellow module. Now we're going to orange module. So anyone who comes in, which is really the orange belt curriculum, anybody who comes in right now is going to learn the orange belt curriculum. If they pass the test, they'll get their yellow belt. Because after doing their green belt, they're going to start over and do their yellow belt, which I just had some kids just finish the yellow belt. Now they've just graduated to the advanced class.
Hey guys, I always do this when we go past an hour and a half, because I like to give you guys the option. And here's the option. I have probably 6, 7 more things we can cover. I do on here. So the option is we can push through. We're definitely going to exceed, I don't know how long ago, or we could do a part 2. So what say you guys?
I'm in a position where I can do either or. I would prefer to push through so there's no rescheduling issues. But if the gentlemen have something that they got to get to, I understand and respect and defer.
Guys, I can be on for a little while longer. That's not, scheduling is scheduling is an interesting thing. So yeah, Dean, I really enjoy your questions.
All right, we could
Miguel?
Maestro Mike, what do you think?
Let's do a part 2, guys.
You want to do part 2? Okay.
Let's do it. That way we can take our time,
Yeah, because let me just run by you guys what I got left, and some more things might come. Here's what I got left. The whole issue of sparring, I want to address. Kids, ratio to adults. What advice would you give those who consider doing this? Your guys' future goals and all that. And there's something else too. So in other words, like the part 2, we could easily be an hour, easily.
Unless you wanted to do rapid fire answers and just get it over with.
I leave that up to you guys.
Let's go.
All right. Okay. So
rapid fire. Here we go, baby.
So we're doing rapid fires starting now. And you know what? We're going to start with Maestro Mike. Sparring. Do you incorporate it, and how do you handle it amongst your students as far as integration?
Sparring. Yes.
Okay.
We're doing sparring. What do we spar? 3 nights a week?
Seconds. We have a minute.
3 nights a week.
Yeah.
We let the juniors spar with the seniors guide them, kind of like in Datu Tim's martial art, Balintawak, the instructor guides the student. They call it agak. So that's what we do here.
Okay. Does that right when they come in the door, or do you allow some time to get them?
No, we allow them some time to learn the basics, but we do have Partner drills where there is contact, light contact. You might do a jab straight hook, low kick. While one guy is performing, the other guy will defend, try to pick, check.
I got you. Okay.
And we prepare them for the sparring. So.
Right. Maestro Nick, sparring. If you do, and when do you introduce it?
Sparring for us is primarily pool noodle sparring, and we do that right away, almost in every class.
Okay, and then when they get older, and what do you guys, anything from that point on, or?
Yeah, we still do like quote empty hand sparring, but it is more like defense drill where we push a person, hey, I hate your shirt, and bam, we come in and we give out awards in our program for kids who are the best actors, who are the best bully, and really know how to go for it when they're the person who's being the attacker. So we don't so much as like kickboxing sparring or Yao-Yan type sparring as Master Miguel, fully defense, but lots and lots of pool noodle, and then later on action flex sparring for sure.
Action flex, man, huh? Yeah. Dr. Tim, sparring. When you introduce it to the kid,
right from the beginning. What I'll do is like Miguel said with the agak, when a new person comes in for punch kick sparring, I don't like leaving them out. They'll work with me one-on-one. Hey, throw a couple punches. I'll throw a couple. It's more like it's guided. Okay, throw a punch in my belly. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to start blocking. Okay, I'm going to throw one back at you. Yeah. And I do it with the adults. I do it with the kids. We do action flex. We use the hit series, which are much harder stick.
The blue stick. Yes.
The boom stick. Yeah. And we're sparring usually every other week.
Yeah. I do it. Like I do teach part-time at a Campo place. I have like 13 FMA kids, range of ages, and it's action flex, man. When they come in, they learn to jab, they move around, they spar. You know what I mean? Okay, kids to adult ratio. Maestro Mike, your kids to adults, 50-50, 40-60?
Yeah, we probably have 50 to 60% adults, and then teenagers 30%, and the rest maybe kids under 11.
That's a nice ratio. Awesome. Maestro Neil, what say you?
Easy question. 115 kids, 1 adult.
That works. Dr. Tim.
And then I'm probably 50% kids, 20, about 50% kids, and then 50-50 between teens and adults.
Nice. Okay. What advice, back to Maestro Mike, what advice would you give to those considering opening a full-time FMA school?
First of all, be good at the art that you know. Be good at it. Know how to teach. At this point in my career, I would strongly recommend getting some education on the business end of it, like Master Neil and Datu Tim have done.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even. That's at the point. That's where I'm at now. I'm looking to learn about that.
Yeah, good advice, Master Neil. Somebody's thinking about after this interview, man. They want to just jump in and open up an FMA school. What advice do you give them?
Kind of like what Grandmaster Hartman said earlier, is find some people and organization that is wildly successful. That whether it's Dave Kovar, Action Karate, Greg Horton, there's lots of different groups out there, but find someone that fits your value system, and then get mentored under them and be willing to pay the money in order to get good at what they can teach you.
Awesome. Dr. Tim, somebody wants to jump in after watching this interview.
Okay, so I'm going to go. You need to be good at the craft.
Yeah.
Got to be good at the art, and then there's the craft. So the craft is the business. The art, you need to be good at the system of martial arts, because you need to also, when people are comparing you to other schools out there in general, you need to be sharp. But then the business advice. I mean, once again, if anyone's interested, you want some one-on-one, check out my YouTube channel, FMA Professionals. I did a few episodes specifically on that. But I would check out. I mean, I'm a Maya guy, MAIA, Martial Art Industry Association. I think they're probably the best at recruitment right now. Mr. Kovar's got phenomenal systems. I love Rhonda McGee. She's great. She's in Mexico right now, though. But if you're not going to get business mentoring, I would reconsider. How's that?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would assume if we're good at the art,
okay,
then get business mentoring before doing this, and realize this: you have to run it like a business.
Yeah, you can't be.
Which means you need to know accounting or have someone. My significant other, she does. She's a company controller by trade, so it makes it easy. I don't run the office; I run the floor.
Okay. Collectively speaking, within our community, how could we make it? I don't know if attractive is the right word, but how could we even put a seed into FMA teachers that opening up a FMA school is not financial suicide? How do we make it more attractive for those who maybe are sitting on the fence and all that? How do we give inspiration? So, Master Mike, how could we, those who may be on the fence, how could we inspire them that it would be a good thing to open up an FMA school?
I don't have an answer to that, Dean. I really don't know.
That's okay. No, that's okay. Master Neil, what do you think? How can we give inspiration to get more to do this, to get more to open up FMA schools?
To be quite frank, financial.
Okay, so one be financial. Okay.
We'll see that there is a great ability to have a wonderful career doing this, the more people that will get involved and see that. So
okay.
It is amongst my my kids. I have a 15-year-old who has been a part-timer for 2 years right now, and he has $15,000 in the bank, fully invested with Vanguard, and something that I've helped him do and set up. And the other parents in my school know about that, and they see that, and the kids in my school want to be like that 16-year-old. It's a lot easier for me to recruit instructors and get people into my leadership program as a result of that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Datu Tim, how can we make it more attractive? How can we plant a seed for more FMA teachers to maybe take that leap?
Well, to be different than what the other two gentlemen said, come visit my school. See that it can be done. Proof's in the pudding. I would go, listen, if you're in California, go visit Miguel's school. If you're down in Florida, go visit Neil's school. If you're in New York or anywhere near, come visit my school. See that it can happen.
Go see. Actually, that's great advice. If you're thinking about it, go see one of these guys who are operating a successful FMA school.
And I literally 5 years ago, he's 1,000,000% correct. I had to go see and tour literally no less than 25 schools in Florida of other school owners who were much more successful than me, to see what it is are they doing, no matter what it is that they taught, because I had to know what is it, what's the secret sauce, until I started to figure that out.
Did you know Greg Silva down there?
Yes, Greg Silva was my coach for a year. He came in and watched me many, many times. The biggest piece of advice he gave me is like, Neil, I counted how many times your kids did a combo in class. They only did it 18 times. Your kids need to do that combo a minimum of 50 to 75 times in class.
Yes, Silva used to live up here in Connecticut.
Increase reps in class. He's amazing. Greg Silva's awesome.
Where's he, in Arizona now, right?
No, he's here in Florida.
Oh, he moved. Okay.
Yeah, about 3-4 years ago. So he came up from West Palm Beach to Jupiter once a month, sometimes twice a month, and personally coached, would watch my classes, and I paid him. I paid a lot of different people, skilled people, $100, $200, $400 sometimes.
Yes, serious school down there. Serious school down there, from what I hear. But he came from Connecticut. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so we get okay. That was great advice. Go see anybody watching this. You're thinking about it. Go see one of these guys. Okay, Master Mike. Future goals. Yourself in the school. What are your future goals?
Again, I would like to learn the business side of it. I would like to get educated on the business side of it. I would like to continue turning out high quality martial artists, but I would also like to start teaching the younger people, focus on them also. I don't know if our gym is considered successful. We don't really make a profit, but we put out high quality martial artists.
That's successful.
They can go to any gym in the world.
Yeah.
That teaches our style of martial arts,
and
they
they'll
can fit right.
do well. That's successful.
Yeah.
Datu Tim, your future goals for yourself and your school.
Find my successor, both for the art as well as the school, because I'd like to hand this over to somebody someday. I'm not looking for extra locations, but I want to be able to offer that for my students, that if they want to have the same dream that I do, that I help them do that. Continue develop, getting better at the art and the craft, and trying to help modern arnis specifically, or the Praises systems, get stronger so it'll last the generation after us.
All right, Master Neil. Future goals for yourself in school.
I just turned 50 this year, and I don't know if I'm a young pup in the group. I might be, but I would like to retire at 63, and so I need to do the things and find the things over the next 13 years to retire and make sure that my family is set up for future success. I have a younger wife and younger kids, so I want them to be taken care of if anything were to happen.
Good on you. Good on you.
Learning those things.
Yeah, no, those are good stuff to have. That worked out well, the rapid fire. So I want to thank all three of you for coming on. I think for people who are maybe perhaps considering this, I think this episode is going to be really insightful and helpful for them if they consider doing this. And they should absolutely invest in a plane ticket or whatever, or drive and go see one of you guys and all that. So, but again, I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you, Master Miguel.
Thank you, guys.
You guys also just, if you guys want.
Tim, I'll see you in a month, huh?
Yeah.
Leave your guys' social media on the comment section here in case there's folks that maybe want to look you guys up.
Okay.
If you guys can do that, that'd be good. All right. But again, good thanks you guys having on, and I'm gonna download this now. I'll tag you guys all, post it on your wall from the YouTube. All that.
Thank you, Dean. Good luck with the storm over there.
Yeah, well, I think it bypasses. We should.
Okay, good.
I know. No, yeah, I know. The shore got, from what I understand, got annihilated. But yeah, but.
You want to see the gym before we sign off?
Oh, please, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Please do.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot. How many square footage?
About 3,000.
Nice.
It's really, Master Miguel. I did not know that.
Oh, you got the bags, everything. Sweet. Wow.
These are traditional Yaoyan heavy bags. If you go to the Philippines, every Yaoyan gym is going to have bags like that.
Going to have them. Okay.
Yeah, this one here is probably 350 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's our tire rack.
The tire.
Broken.
Yeah.
We've hit it too many times.
Master Miguel, how many maximum students can you have in a Yaoyan class, and then in a FMA class, a Dos Eparres class?
So the Yaoyan class, what do you think, Jeremy? 30 people, 35 people?
On a good day.
Yeah.
Total, yeah.
Probably 25, 30 people. Eskrima is going to be a little bit less because we're swinging weapons.
So.
Yeah.
Much of your program, percent-wise, is part of your school? Is Yao Yan 50, 60%? Dos Eparas Eskrima 40?
Yao Yan is probably 75%. The empty hands appeals to a lot more. From my experience, the empty hand appeals to a lot more people than the weapons training.
For sure.
Wow. But thank you for that. All right, guys. Yeah, just look for. I'm going to tag you. I'll definitely send the download to each of you guys' walls, and you guys can share it about and all that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, guys. Thank you again for coming on.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Grandmaster.
All right. And there. All right. All right. That wraps up 189. Who is 190? Should be Tuesday. I'm just filing out. It's going to be another theme episode. Jack Latour doing the cross Zoom classes with other instructors. Like he did one with Brandon Jordan. He did one with Roger Boulis. He did one with a few others. And I'm just trying to secure a third person for that. If that happens, then yes, that will be Tuesday. If that doesn't happen, Thursday, Mike Belzer, and this guy is going to be incredible. This guy actually, a month in the Philippines, had GM Illustrisimo like tour with him for a month, and this is going back in the 80s. So yeah, so hopefully Tuesday will be something. If worst case scenario, if not, then Thursday night 7 with again Mike Belzer. All right, folks. If you thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit subscribe to FMA Discussion on YouTube, where you can see this interview and other ones like this. All right.